Converting your Sync 2 Ford stereo to have Android Auto and CarPlay, you might want to grab one of these before supplies run out. Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. We are sitting in our 2015 Ford F-150. It features the standard upgraded touchscreen stereo system, which comes complete with Ford Sync 2. Now, many of you who have a Ford Sync 2 stereo system, similar to what I've got here, have probably wondered, what's the best way to get CarPlay or Android Auto functioning on this stereo? And if you are one of those people who wondered, you've probably gone looking on the internet and found yourself a real problem. You see, from 2016 up, the exact same stereo came preloaded with Ford Sync 3. Now, Ford Sync 3 can actually be upgraded to allow Android Auto and CarPlay without any special tricks. But the Sync 2 models do not work with those same solutions. If you have a Sync 2 model and you're wondering, will these Sync 3 units work like this? No. The answer is no. So you're left wondering, well, what should I do? Many of us have turned to devices like this from Car ABC. This is a standalone Android Auto solution that just plugs into your car and connects between your car and your standard stereo. But it's extra hardware that's sitting up on your dash that you don't really need, because this stereo can actually be upgraded to support Android Auto through a special adapter sold by Car ABC. Now, when I reached out to them and said, I would love to feature this product for you guys because a lot of people are struggling, they said no. They said no. I said, come on guys, we really need something like this. Let me showcase it. And they still said, no, we think the future is standalone Android Auto screens. And they sent me this one, but refused to send me this one. So I said, fine, I'll buy it myself. And that's what I did. So I purchased this with my own money. This is not a sponsored video, not by Car ABC at least, because I had to buy this myself. So that allows me to show you guys exactly how to install this thing and do a real hands-on review where I get to tell you, is this worth it? Or is something like this guy, the easy standalone Android Auto device, the better way to go? Now, I don't know the answer yet because I have not installed this system yet. This is not going to be a complete how to install the Car ABC Android Auto adapter into the Ford stereo, because there's a lot of steps. But I will do a quick time lapse and I will tell you what I did with that time lapse, and then we'll go and actually review this thing. But before I do that, we need to hear from the real sponsor of this video who actually helps pay these bills. Gamsgo. Are you paying too much for Netflix, Spotify, Disney Plus, Crunchyroll, Duolingo, Canva, or Adobe? Gamsgo has you covered with premium shared subscriptions for a fraction of the price directly from the distributor. Yes, Gamsgo is the shared premium experience that you've been looking for that saves a ton of money. I personally use Gamsgo for my Netflix, my Spotify, my Disney Plus, and my Crunchyroll subscriptions, and I have saved tons of money by switching to Gamsgo. Switching to Gamsgo is as easy as clicking the link in the description or up in the title card, which will take you to the main Gamsgo website. Select the services that you're looking for and buy them. But to show you how easy it is, we're gonna take 30 seconds and we're gonna sign up for Netflix. So we've clicked the affiliate link and I'm gonna click purchase now on Netflix. Now we have an option to buy 3 months or 6 months. I'm gonna buy a 6-month membership. I'm gonna say activate auto renewal because you don't wanna miss out anyway. Now in my case, I only need one profile. That means that I get one of the 5 included shared profiles with my Netflix account, and I can install it on one device in my home. Do you have multiple devices in your home? You might want to switch to the 5 profiles option, which also unlocks multiple devices so that you can use all of your profiles across multiple devices. But in my case, one profile is plenty. Now, this is the most important step. It's gonna say, do you have a promo code? Yes, I do. And the promo code is GEARS. We're gonna apply our promo code and it's gonna say, this is a valid promo code. We're gonna click to go to payment, and then we're gonna enter in all of our details. This is a one-time payment of just $21.26. That is crazy cheap for premium Netflix on one device with one profile. I'm going to pay now. I'm gonna enter my credit card information, and that's it. Once you've paid, you get immediate access to Netflix, and it's as simple as logging into your GamsGo account, getting the username and passkey, and then going to legit Netflix. Now it's gonna immediately say, well, who is this? Now I am account number 3, Gears and Tech, and it's gonna ask for my PIN code because I locked this down. Once I have my PIN code in, now instantly I am in the full premium Netflix experience. This gives me HD Netflix, I can download it, and it's that simple. And it works the same on all your other favorite streaming platforms. This is truly an amazing deal. You don't wanna miss it. Click the link down below to grab your deal. Now, before we get started on the install, you need to say, how do I know if I have a Sync 2 or if I have a Sync 3? The answer is very, very simple. If your stereo looks like this, it has to be the bigger screen. If it's the small screen, this system will not work for you. But also, if the interface looks like this, if this is what your interface looks like, then you have the right one. The Sync 3 looks totally different from this one. So if you have tabs like this where you can tab through, or you can pull up your stereo like this, or you can pull up your climate control like this, then you have a Sync 2 model. There is a way to also look in here, in the settings here, go to help, and then go to software information. And in here, it might get your hopes up because my software version is 3.0.8 point something, something, something. You can see that right there. And you might be like, oh, I have Ford Sync 3. No, that's not the case. It'll actually say Ford Sync 3. If it looks like this, then you have Ford Sync 2. I don't know how to break it to you, but you're gonna be looking at this thing just like I am, or you're gonna be looking at something like this, which is a standalone Android Auto system. Now that we've decided that we definitely have a Sync 2 and we definitely need one of these, it's time to tear this dash apart and do the full install. So we're gonna give you a quick time lapse of the install, and then I'll run you through exactly what we did. To start out with, you're gonna remove the center speaker by just prying up with some sort of a plastic tool so you don't scuff it. Then you're gonna use, in my case, a 7mm socket to remove the 2 screws and then pull up on that center panel on the top. Once that's off, there's 2 screws in the top of the stereo, also 7mm socket, which when that's done, you'll be able to pull the entire front stereo face off. At that point, you're gonna undo the clips that are holding all the wiring in, which will get you to this. Now we need to take this out, so we're gonna use the same 7mm screws to undo the 4 bolts and remove this completely. That will take us to the actual install, which we need to do a quick unboxing of what comes with this kit and the install. But to do that, I'm gonna go into my studio where the lighting's a little better and you can actually see what I'm doing. The reason for that is we have to actually prep this unit before we can install it into the vehicle. And you're gonna see all that really, really quickly. This is the part where you're gonna decide, do I really want the CarPlay built into this stereo, or is the aftermarket standalone unit the way for me? But if you're not discouraged yet, you're probably good for the next step as well. When we started this journey, you probably had no idea it was gonna be so time consuming and there'd be so much involved. I kinda did, but I didn't realize how much work this was gonna be. So let's continue along here. We have our main screen unit removed from the car. I'm gonna set this over here while we do a quick unboxing of what is inside this box so that you have a good idea what to expect from here on out. Now the box of this is pretty, like, it's just car ABC with a generic car layout. It does say Android Auto, CarPlay, blah, 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 compatible car models. It's really just any Ford that has that 8-inch screen that is on Sync 2. If it's on Sync 3, not gonna work. Sync 1, also not gonna work. So it's a very narrow margin of who's gonna be using this, but we're gonna go through this anyway. And that's one of the reasons why Car ABC were reluctant to even send this to me, because they know that they developed this and they're just not getting as many sales as they kind of hope. So on the top here, we've got the main brain unit. Exactly how this works, I don't know because I haven't hooked it up yet, but we'll explore kind of what's on there in a minute. Pulling this off reveals a ton of wires. Holy. So we've got an interface harness that connects up to our factory vehicle, and it's like a T-harness, if you will. So we'll walk through the wiring of how this connects up much more clearly, so you're not left guessing. It also has this, which I'm surprised to see, but this is a lot of more stuff. So we've got auxiliary in, front camera in, auxiliary out, mic in, mic out, and a lot of cords, and then a USB cord and auxiliary out cord. I don't know what all is like what's used in this, but we're gonna find out. I've got this adapter, which I don't think we end up needing to use. We've got this guy, which is, I don't know, this is ZH CarPlay is what it says on it. And it looks like it's, I don't know, we're gonna go through this, but it's another cable. We've got a microphone cable, which I don't know if I need, but potentially I do for the Android Auto, like for spoken stuff. And I don't even see if this has, I don't see anywhere where it has microphone input. But the most important part is this. Now this is the reason why we had to remove that screen display. And it does have, I haven't really looked in this, but it does have a user manual which is pre-printed out on a printer. So this does look like it walks you through all of the instructions on how to actually install this thing. And truth be told, I don't usually read instructions, but I may end up actually reading instructions today because I'm not sure about a lot of this. I'm really not sure. And that's it. So let's look at this part a little bit closer, because what this is an interface module that connects inside of the screen, and it basically creates a jumper bypass so that this box becomes the main brains of this whole system, and then it's utilizing the screen to display what it wants to do from here. And that's essentially how this is working. It's not an adapter to work with your Sync 2. I believe that this actually takes over your Sync 2 and turns it into a whatever they've done here. But we'll see as we go through the actual usage how it works. But first, I need to install this thing. So I'm gonna do a little bit of cleanup here, get all this mess of cables out of the way, and now we can move on to the actual install. So for the install, we need to separate these two units apart. And the way we're gonna do that is we're gonna undo the 4 screws here, and this should just pop right off. And hopefully I've brought the correct size here. I think I have it, not that one. Now these are Torx screws, and the size is not printed on my kit, I don't think. This looks like a size 20 Torx that we're gonna use for this part. We got those out, and then this should just pop off, and it does. So there's a quick connect back on here that marries these two together. So it's not too hard. It's just like plugging in your Nintendo cartridge. I'm gonna save those screws so we don't lose them. I'm gonna drop them back in the holes there. And now we can start stripping the sides off so that we can get this cover off of here. To do that, we're gonna use, it is a number 8 Torx to get these side screws off of here. Now, I do believe they have a video that shows exactly how to do this as well. So if you feel like I'm not explaining it well enough, there are other resources out there, but my goal is to make this at least as complete as possible so you can decide, is this the stereo mod for me, or do I want to just do the easy plug and play method, which, you know, this whole time I've been wondering if that's the solution, but I wanted to see this. I've seen some great things about this. The guys who did it were happy they did it, but okay, now there's a lot of Phillips screws here, so I'm going to pop all of those out and then we'll come back. Now with all the screws undone, we're able to take the top bezel off. You want to be careful because as you take this off, there's actually some ribbon cables in there that we don't want to wreck. This is a flip up style, so you want to flip the connector up, the gray connector part up, before you start trying to pull out on the blue connector. And then this other one just pulls out. So I don't know if you guys can see what I did there. I just lifted the back tab here and then pulled it out, and then that separates the two. Now I can set the screen to the side where it's not gonna get bothered, and this is where this module comes in, and all that's gonna happen is this guy installs in there. That's what happens. So we need to remove the 3 Phillips screws for this so that we can attach the new unit onto the old unit inside of here. Just like that. And then what happens is this guy, it's got some holes here that line up with the other holes. So this just piggybacks over this, and then this guy goes on top. So I'll show you guys the installed one in a second here. Now one thing is, it did come with longer screws, and these black screws that were holding it in the first place are not going to help you now. So you need these longer screws at this point to actually get this in. So all I'm going to do is go like that. I'll match the screw holes up. There we go. So we got one in. And that's what it's going to look like once you have the daughter board installed in here. So they're just screwed into those 3 factory mounting holes. And then we need to connect our ribbon cable together. So we're going to plug in the jumper ribbon cable into the factory one, just like that. And then this guy, you got to do a little creative bending here. It's going to go like this and like that. Now it's really important that you get these in straight. So I just fiddled with it until I was able to wiggle it in, get it straight, and then push the locking tab down on both sides. And I'm just gonna fold that over like that and hope it stays out of the way, just like that. That connects the daughter board to the factory board, and then the old screen connection is gonna go into this one right here. But before we do that, I do have another one of these jumper cables, and this is gonna jump this port into this port here. So let's give that a try. Now for this little daughter board connection, the skinny one, the pins need to be looking up to you when you put it in, but the other one, the pins need to be looking down, okay? So that's how those connections are gonna get made in there. Now I do see another port on here that I believe matches one of these connectors. It looks like this guy right here matches this guy right here. So I suspect that that's gonna need to plug into there, and it does just like that. Now I may need to nibble away part of this metal piece so that it comes out somewhere without getting damaged, but we're gonna look at that shortly when I put this back together. I'm gonna test fit it first just to prove my theory, because that is gonna go like that. That's gonna get pushed down there. So it looks like this slot here has enough room for it to get moved over there and not get in the way of anything, and it'll close. So that is going to be where I'm going to feed that up, is through this hole right here, the factory hole. But before I do that, I definitely want to get this thing back connected up. So that's where I'm going to focus my efforts. So if I lie it down beside here, I should be able to lift that tab up. Again, it is so critical that these are straight, because if they're not, it will not work. With a little wiggling and such, you can eventually get it. I feel like I'm just out a little bit. There we go. And that guy clips in here. Now, you guys are not going to see this very well, but we've got this looped in, it's clipped down. This guy's put in, there's a little clip there that needs to push together to get that in, but it does get in, it locks it in place, and that allows us now to feed this cord over there. And then, with a little bit of cable management, we should be able to get everything to sit down exactly how it needs to be. Let's just look at where I want this. I think I want that to come around over here. And now it is time to screw it back together. We should be able to reuse our existing screws. Now, before we can put this trim on, there's actually a little piece here that's gonna scissor off our cable that we ran out of here. So now I do need to do a slight adjustment, but the adjustment's gonna be very, very simple, and I'm just gonna bend this open or cut it or something. So I've just got these scissors that I've got at the dollar store that say Betty Crocker, and they're sharp enough to cut this, and it just creates lots of sharp edges that we can cut ourselves on in the future, which is always really great. That's always a good strategy. Create sharp edges to cut yourself and cut the equipment that you're working with. If you can't detect my sarcasm, then I'm sorry, I really can't help you. Sharp edges suck. I've cut myself on my fair share of sharp edges. So there, now I've got a nice spot for that to come off. It's got a sharp edge for whoever tries to come at it in the future, and we'll just put our screws back in, and then we can go back to the car and do the actual install. So that's all we're doing now. We'll come back when we're in the car. We're back inside the truck, and now we're going to try and figure out what all of these cables are for by really just plugging in whatever fits somewhere that we can see where it fits. So for example, I can already tell that this has to go into here however it fits, like that. That has to happen like that. This will go into the back of the stereo, so we'll just tuck this back out of the way like that. We've got this guy here, which I believe, like, I don't know what half of these cords are for, but we're gonna go into this new unit. So this says 360 camera control. There's no wire for that, but this thing has a connector that goes in there. Does that one go in there? No. I suspect that, oh wow, okay. That was just a USB-C cord. Okay, so there's no end on that. That's just a USB end, and that's just an auxiliary end. So this guy from the unit definitely plugs in here somewhere, which goes right there like that. And then, what else have I got? Does this plug into this? There's a chance that this plugs into there, and it does. And then this, does that plug into that? No. What does this plug into? Does that plug into there? This looks like it should go into something like this. That looks like it plugs into there. That's the auxiliary out of that. Okay, I think that's it. So now we just got to find somewhere for this box to reside. I think can potentially go in here just on top of all this crap like that. I'm not gonna connect any of this stuff for now because I just want to get this plugged in and see if it works at all before I close it all back up. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take this guy. It's only got a couple of connections on the back of it. So that's one. And then this guy like that. And then this should power up and work. So we'll start the truck up. Okay, here it is powering up. It says sync with a brand new screen that we've never seen before, performing scheduled system maintenance. So this must be doing some sort of an update from whatever I just did. And I'm expecting the regular screen to be on here. So here we are, it's all powered on. It's just loosely in there just to see how it works. Now, to switch between the new Android Auto system and the factory system, this is still just the factory system, but in my car, we go to the next button on here. We're gonna hold it for 2 seconds. You'll hear a click and the screen will flash. So you ready? 1,1000, 2,1000, click. And now it is saying, okay, Android Auto. So I'm going to say, sure, Android Auto. For wireless connection, please use your Android phone to pair the device Bluetooth and follow the instructions on your Android phone to connect. So I'm going to go here into my settings. I'm going to look for connections and Bluetooth. I'm going to turn it on and I'm going to look for Android Auto. I think this is it here, car 4793. It doesn't say, which is unfortunate, what it is I'm looking for, but there it is. There's your pass key. I'm going to say pair, and hopefully it worked. It's connecting now, connected for calls and audios, and in a second it should go click, click, and then start actually connecting to my device. And there we go. We are now connected with Android Auto to our screen here. So I can put my phone away, and I have all of the features that I expect to see in regular Android Android Auto. So I've got my cellular connection setting, I've got my time, I've got my battery, I've got the menu bar there. I can pull this up and go through all of my favorite apps. You can customize the apps just like you can with Android Auto. And I can go back here and see, there we go, it's on. Now I should be able to play a song. I'm connected. The song's playing. I can't play it to you guys because it'll demonetize me, but I can skip through all of my songs if I want. I can adjust everything from my Android Auto screen. If I want to pull up my main screen again, I can just long press like this and it'll flip over and instantly I'm back into whatever I was into before. You can pull up your climate control. You can pull up all your settings. My climate control is unplugged because it's sitting up there on the dash right now. And that's it. The only thing that I have left to do, I do have this auxiliary out connection, which I'm not gonna use. I'm gonna tuck that into the back, but let me check my camera. So there's my camera working there, but I also want, it should work on the new system. So if I go like this and go back up, then there. So I still get my camera even when I'm in Android Auto. So the system will boot up, and let's just try it and see. So I'm gonna shut the car off. I get the forward animation of it shutting off, and I just want to see when I start the car, does it start into Android Auto or do I have to switch? And it looks like I do have to switch it. So I'll have to power for 2 seconds to click it over. I will look and see if there's a setting to make it auto turn on, but it's a small inconvenience, if anything at all. But overall, this gets Android Auto to my dash. Now that you've seen how difficult it is to do, it's not difficult, it just is a process and it takes some time. But with it in, it's so seamless and so much better than having an extra device sitting on your dash that you don't want to use. So I'm definitely happy that I did this. If you want to do it, I will put a link. There's not many places where you can get this from. So I will put a link to the only place that I know of where you can get this. Keep in mind, this works on any Sync 2 stereo that has the 8-inch display. It has to have that 8-inch display. If that's too much, I will put a link in the description where you can grab this, the Car ABC. This is the D808. This seems like a great way to get Android Auto or CarPlay working on your factory stereo for that seamless factory solution. And it's much, much cheaper than going for those big Tesla style ones that a lot of those other guys are converting to. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.